Welcome to the Dean Vaughn Music Podcast Show, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dean Vaughn Music Podcast Show. We're broadcasting out of Las Vegas today, and we have the infamous April 16th with us from the UK. Hey, guys, how are you doing?
Hey, Dean.
Very well, thank you, Dean.
Absolutely brilliant, thank you.
Well, first, I want to thank you guys for showing up today. And today we're doing a pre-record in different time zones, so we can get you all live out here on the Dean Vaughn Music Podcast Show. And I want to say thank you for sending me your CD, guys.
No, pleasure.
It's incredible. I've listened to it a few times now. I have all the songs up on the screen today so we can play them for the audience. And, of course, you're going to help me direct the show a little bit. And if anyone doesn't know, Dave Russel, he is an author, and he wrote The Ghost of April. Go out and get that book. I don't know, can they buy it online, Dave?
Yeah, they certainly can, Dean. Yeah, it's on Amazon. If not, they can drop Chris a line. I'm sure there'll be some kind of link, and Chris can provide them with the details or even furnish them with a book.
All right, everyone, get out to Amazon and get that book, The Ghost of April, April 16th. So, guys, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Brilliant. Thanks very much indeed.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great interview. I can already feel the vibe. And, and guys, you've been around the block a few times. Back in 1985, it looks like it says you arrived late to the UK's new wave British heavy metal movement. And it says by that time, many bands from the late 70s and early 80s had already disappeared or disbanded and evolved or shifted their sound, but not April 16th. You guys stayed true to your grit sound. And I love that because I love the old school rock and roll. I grew up, my first record was 1979. And of course it was 80s pop. It wasn't like you guys, but I could think of so many bands that reminisce. And, I'm going to let you talk and tell the audience actually how this band got started. Now, let me start off since I got three of the rock stars on the screen today. Let me first introduce all of them. And we got Chris, of course. Chris is one of the founding members. And Chris, you are the guitarist.
That's right, yes.
And then we have John Fisher. He is on the drums.
How you doing?
Hello, John.
Lovely to meet you all.
I love the accent. And Dave Russell on lead vocals. How you doing, Dave?
Good day, everybody.
And these guys, I'm gonna pick on you just for a little bit about the band and kind of how it originated and got started. Now you can take me before April 16th. How you got into music and your influences and what got you kicked off and started with hard rock and heavy metal. So I'm going to give you the screen. Give me the story. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, how long have you got? I mean, I was lucky enough to be brought up in the 60s and 70s. The transition from the great pop tunes from the 60s into the kind of psychedelic rock era of the late 60s and then going into the 70s when so many great bands came out. I was lucky enough to spend my teenage years seeing Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, all those classic bands, to name just a drop in the ocean. I was always going to see bands, and I went to a famous venue in London once called the Marquee in London's Wardour Street, and was just blown away by the spirit of the place. And my dream was one day to hopefully be on stage with a band, although at the time it was pie in the sky. There was no way this was ever going to happen because I wasn't aspiring to that sort of thing. It was just a dream of mine. But I started working with somebody who was a guitarist in a band, and to cut a long story short, because we'll be here all night otherwise,
right.
About 15 years later, I bumped into the same guy, which is documented in the book, by the way. And I asked him what he was up to, and he said he was in a band and they were looking for a vocalist. So I said, well, I'll come along for an audition. And that was that. I got to meet Chris, who brought the demo tape down to my local pub one night, and then of course went to the audition, met lovely John and lovely Eric, who is sadly no longer with us. And 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 that's. I mean, I could. You'll have to stop me because I'll go on all bloody night. I'll let you have the word.
Tell me a little bit about. He's no longer with us. What was his name?
Eric Puffett was our bass guitarist,
and he's no longer with us.
No, he was sadly one of the first people in London to succumb to the COVID virus.
Oh my gosh! Rest in peace.
He was waiting for a lung transplant, I believe. Chris is, and
underlying problems.
Yeah, and he was only, I think he was only 55.
Oh my gosh!
So
what a horrible a virus that was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and people say it was a conspiracy and it was this, it was that, and it's not until it affects you personally that you get some idea of the gravitas of the situation.
Well, God rest Eric Puffett's soul, and
and now that's him just behind you, Dean. Just behind you, Dean, under the logo of April 16th. That's Eric in the white shirt.
Oh, there he is. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
there's another good shot popped up behind you. Actually, not this one.
Yeah, there's another one. You guys are hanging out with Meatloaf or Lenny. Hanging out with Lenny there.
Yeah.
And there he is there. That's Eric.
Yeah.
That's a great nostalgia picture. A picture just showing what it was like back in the day.
And that was mid-80s as well, by the way.
Was that the 80s?
Yeah, mid-80s, yeah.
88 probably.
Mm-hmm.
You guys talk about how you didn't really follow the trends, the changes that everybody, the clothing, you kept to your gritty raw style and capturing that classic rock style of music, staying with the authenticity. I like that.
I don't like pigeonholes. They say you're either heavy metal or you're soft metal.
Right.
We were just rock, in my opinion. We just played our rock music.
So hard.
Yes, it was heavy, but we also had feel to it. Meaning we were sounding like bands like Bad Company and your Faces and
right,
but also mixed in with your Deep Purples and your Led Zeppelins. It was a mixture.
Well, you stayed true to the rock and roll side of it, and I'm with you on that. You remember when Tower Records and some of the record stores, Licorice Pizza, what was it called? They had about 30 categories of music, in the rack. And I was looking for Rush one day, and I remember I couldn't find them. And I was looking in rock and roll, soft rock, hard rock, medium rock, progressive rock, metal rock, heavy metal. This is back in the 80s. It's even worse now. Yeah. And finally found Rush, and I think they were in the progressive rock section. But I remember it was so hard to find a band like the Cars. I was looking for the Cars. They were pop or just soft rock or medium rock. Now that the heavy metal bands got black metal.
Black metal, doom metal, all sorts, and they do
screamo,
death metal,
speed metal. And I'm like, well, what's the difference?
Post rock, post punk,
post punk. Yeah. There you go. And I guess in the UK, a lot of things started in the UK. And we're going back to the Beatles, and I did some interviews with a guy named Mick Clark who played with some of the. He was on stage with the Beatles back in the time. He was an older guy, and he had some great stories. If you get a chance, go look back at my podcast show. Mick Clark. And so tell me, John. Tell me, John Fisher on drums. Tell me a little story about the band and how did you guys all meet?
Well, to be fair, I played in a few bands before April 16th. I played in a skinhead band called The Business, and then on to an Oi band called Combat 84. Then another band called The Warriors. We had a single out there called Horror Show. And then I was sort of out of business, looking through my Sounds newspaper, our local music paper, if you will. And there was an advert for a drummer needed for a local band. So I gave Chris a ring and popped around his house, and the first tune he played me was Illusion. And I was there and then. I've got to be in this band.
The song Illusion we were playing a little bit earlier. And what a great
That
song.
got me hooked.
Yeah. Starts out, back in the day, we could start off with a long intro like Stairway to Heaven or something, with a lead guitar.
Yeah.
That's the way it used to be. Now they jump right into it and it's all, chorus and verse. But you get a chance to breathe a little bit. We took our time back in the 70s, 60s, 70s. We just played. We felt it and we played it. That's so reminiscent right there, Led Zeppelin, or just, everyone. Gosh darn, that just sounds great. And that's Illusion by April 16th. That's available for download, everyone. Go down and you can buy the entire album. And it's, the album was called Epitaph. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Who came up with that name of that album?
Well, I did actually. It's Lawrence and I, the lead guitarist, were discussing putting down. We were only on vinyl price. I think there's a time about 1980, 1998, 99 when vinyl was really on the way out, really, and CDs were always
That's right.
the thing to be. We were disappointed to be on vinyl when we released our first album, vinyl, and so we took the opportunity of putting it all on CD at a later date, but it's plus a couple of tracks that weren't recorded on the vinyl. And Epitaph was, of course, because we were now a history for a while at least.
Gotcha.
And it's just a chance to get all of our stuff that we had recorded in the studio in one place on a CD. That was the thoughts behind it. Lawrence himself decided the running order, which I quite like.
Would they say that song, the video killed the radio star? People started, that was back in the 80s when they started watching videos. MTV came out, and especially the young kids were started. But all of us old timers are still buying the old rock and roll, thank God.
Yeah.
And they're still watching this show. My demographics, they're up in the 50s, 60s, 65 and older.
That's great.
Yeah, so we have.
I don't know, Dean, if you still go to many gigs. I mean, Chris and John and I, we have a meeting every couple of weeks just to keep in contact with each other, among other things. And I say to these guys, I still go to loads of gigs, and it's funny that there are guys in my age group. There seems to be a middle ground of like guys who've been around for ages who love their classic rock, and the young guys coming through who are discovering these bands for the first time. Right. There doesn't seem to be anybody sort of between the age of 25 and 55. And it's great to see people. Live music is the lifeblood of rock music.
And that was the greatest music in the world we grew up with.
Yeah, and to see people congregating in the cathedral of a music venue, whether it's 50 or 500, all there purely to listen to the music and witness the spectacle, and it's still to this day, even somebody of my age, it still gives me goosebumps sometimes. Or just standing there with a cold beer and listening to a band kicking ass.
There you go. There you go.
I can't think of anything. Maybe one or two things I'd rather be doing, but not many.
I got it. Well, you guys are a very, you're a good testament to what it was like. I go back to Janis Joplin and Jefferson Starship, Black Sabbath, Ozzy, Dio, all of them, and a little heavier, but still like going back to Creedence and some of those styles of music. It was, great music. And I've always been a songwriter myself. And I think I got started really seriously writing about 79, 80. Now, you guys might have been doing this a little bit before my time, I'm thinking. But I'm 60. What am I, 63? I just turned 63. So born in 63. I'm an old guy now.
I was a bit of a late starter, really. I didn't do my first gig until I was 30, I think it was, 30.
Oh, my God.
But I'd always been a lover of words. So I started with poetry, really, and then got into trying to put words over songs with an acoustic guitar. But my actually full effort into rock music didn't begin until really with April back in 85.
Gotcha. Now in 89, you did an album called Sleepwalking. Or was it started, you wrote it, when did you write Sleepwalking? The album, or put it together?
Well, it's, the interesting thing is, Dean, it's got some songs in there. Before I joined the band, I was the final member of the band to join, by the way. You know, Chris and Lawrence, two guitarists. We had John on drums and Eric on bass, obviously, and I was the last one to join, which would have been in 85. 84 we auditioned, 85 we went sort of live with the show sort of thing. So there was already 5 or 6 really decent tunes on there.
Gotcha.
So I came along and, like Chris, a bit of a wordsmith, you know, liked writing material. So when we collaborated, the 5 of us, because we were all contributing, the direction kind of changed slightly. I can't explain it without too difficult to explain. But so what we had was a collection of newer material and a collection of the songs from before I joined the band. And Sleepwalking comprises, I think, in equal degrees, some of the old stuff like Don't Drink. I mean, some of the stuff on there was killer live. It really was. I mean, we used to play fairly small venues, but there was a couple of songs on there. I mean, we were made for biker festivals, by the way. Don't Drink, She's Mean.
You guys were on the radio, Radio 1.
Yeah.
Tell me a little. So you had some exposure. Did you have a pretty large audience when you were out playing?
It varied, actually. Yes. From one man and his dog, literally, to 4,000 people at
wow.
Festival, you know. Average sort of attendance in the latter years would be about 160 to 220 in clubs. That's incredible. Small clubs, you know, which wasn't too bad. If you got small club,
I think I have a couple pictures of you playing in front of some large crowds out there.
Yeah, that's the Kent Custom bike show.
Hells Angels. That was a Hells Angels show. They used to do the All England Hells Angels. Did a thing called the Kent Custom Bike Show, where Hells Angels would arrive from all over Europe, and you'd get like Rory Gallagher play. You know, you'd get all these fantastic bands. Uriah Heep, I think, played there with them once.
Uriah Heep, yeah.
And we were, although of course we were much further down the bill, but we got to see some of these our heroes, these bands, you know, and do wandered around. I mean, it wasn't quite like Altamont, but it was still quite scary. And I remember Chris saying once, a story that stuck in my mind, when Chris went to get payment one of these gigs from the Hells Angels, and he walked in and he said one of them had a gun. And Chris was never quite sure to apologise and leave the room or ask for the money.
Oh, that's funny. You know, a little intimidating there. So they must have, the Hells Angels had a UK chapter out there, huh?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, in Europe. Yeah.
Where did they originate? I'm just curious. Hells Angels.
It was an American thing, wasn't it? US.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be a little bit intimidating. I mean, I've played some pretty big parties and gigs, and I had to go ask to get paid. And it's always a little nervous, you know. Are you going to pay me tonight?
By the way, though, actually they were the best payers. There was they always paid what they said they paid, and they paid it in cash straight away. Other promoters would sort of hunt them around the back of the car park and stuff like that.
That's funny. And you guys could probably tell a million stories. Like, you know, Dave said, you know, you're going to have to shut me up because I could talk all night or all day. And we probably have.
I'll give you a quick story. So I want to give you a quick story about Uriah Heep, if I may.
Okay, John, go ahead.
Sorry, could you excuse me just a moment?
I was at a famous venue in London, and I was watching their show. And then once the show had finished, I went to the pub next door, to the bar next door, and they all walked in after their show. So I didn't know them. As the drummer Lee Kerslake was leaving, I shouted out, "Hello, Lee, how you doing?" He came over to join me. We had a beer in the pub. He then joined me in a cab to my house and spent the bleeding night in my house.
Lee Kerslake.
I'd never met him before.
Oh my God, that's funny.
The wife said to me at the end, "So who's your friend?" I said, "I've never met him before, love. He's just a rock star, and he's here."
Let's talk about. Let's dive deep into your songwriting and who are the songwriters in the band, and your creation process of your songwriting, and who wants to talk about that?
Well, from a songwriting point of view, like I said, the songs used to just develop, usually from a basic idea. I guess the same as all songs do, really. We never really had a completed song in its entirety that one of us had an idea with and suggested that this is, we need to do this now, then we do this, then we do this, and it's sort of structured. They tend to evolve. It was all very organic. Like somebody would come up with a riff,
sure,
or I'd have some words written, and Lawrence or Chris would play something, John would come in, and before we knew it, we always found time to get a lead break from Lawrence in there. By hook or by crook, there'd be a lead break from Lawrence in there, and I think listening to the thing about it was, Dean, I mean, towards the end of our career, the last sort of 2 years, we had 4 or 5 really good songs that were taking us in a completely different direction. I believe they were more intense. The songwriting was evolving, but the thing was, there was other different things going on within the parameters of the band that prevented those things bearing fruit, or we never got around to record them. But in essence, the songwriting was shared. Usually the lyrics would come from Chris or myself.
So Chris would jot down some lyrics. You guys would all be in the same room together, or
and we developed an idea. I mean, so John would come up with a pattern, a drum pattern, and Eric would join in on the bass,
Gotcha.
and we say, "Hang on a minute," and then all of a sudden, before you know it, Chris would play something over the top of it. I'd just improvise some words, and then we think, "Oh yeah," either we'd stick with it or we'd say, "No, it just fizzle out." But I guess much the same as every band on the planet.
You toss them out, and you keep some, you toss some out. And,
the song could change halfway through the rehearsal, couldn't it? It could change completely.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just start jamming, right? And then, hey, then this is a good riff. Let's keep playing that. Let's keep playing that. And the singer jumps in there, man, and now you have a song.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's the way I wrote. We'd just come in the studio and say, look at the drummer and say, hey, throw me a beat that you like, a swing time or a heavy metal beat or a straight 4. Just a straightforward downbeat or whatever. Or the guitar player would just start playing something. The drummer would jump in, and then the bass player would follow, and then I would start singing some words, or whatever. Or I would write an entire song on the guitar.
Chris or Dave would say, well, play it a bit faster, John, or slow it down a bit.
Slow it down a little bit.
He never used to listen.
Go home.
Every band has a twist on how they create songs. And I just talked to a lady, not a lady, she's a young woman. It was on my last podcast, and I said, what's your songwriting process? She says, well, I do everything on the piano, and I bring it into the studio, and the bands just jump in and join that song. But she basically already has it created, off the piano. But she had such a great team that they jumped in and made the song a hit. But you guys, sounds like you have a full collaboration with the entire band, which is awesome.
It was looking back now. I mean, it's 30, 40 years ago. Looking back now, I think the spirit, what you alluded to earlier, Dean, about the spirit of rock, and that so much of it is just almost made up on the spot. You're creating something, and when you've got something tangible at the end of, like, for example, you go and rehearse for 2 or 3 hours, and at the end of those 3 hours, you've got something that you didn't have at the start of those 2 or 3 hours, purely because of input. Creativity, passion, emotion, and then and a great feeling of coming out of the studios of the night and going for a beer before we went home. It's thinking, right, we've got a cracking tune in the making here. There was one song that we had that I brought with me from a previous band called The Dealer, and the way it was played in the band I was in when we did that song was the patch.
Did you say The Dealer?
Dealer, yeah. It wasn't a patch on what we eventually made it. And when I hear that song back now, it was live. This live was an absolute killer.
I can imagine just that crescendo right in the beginning, the crashes. Oh yeah, just so typical right there.
Doesn't care how you feel. You just want your money, and all that you want is a thrill. The dealer sees you wasted away.
The guitar's just screaming right there. Doesn't slow down.
There is
love it. This band. This is the same band. Yeah, the original lineup. Yep.
Yeah. There's a quiet bit in the middle. Kind of
comes down a little bit.
It's a true story.
Let's listen to it. There it is. Cut time. Nobody does Right.
Can you look into my eyes and tell me what you're gonna do when he's gone? Yeah, but it's all so easy for me. Yeah, I see so clearly what's going on. Yeah.
Clean guitar.
Yeah.
Is that a Strat? What are you playing over there, Chris?
No, it's a Gibson.
Huh?
Gibson Les Paul.
Les Paul.
Yeah.
For a Marshall stack.
No,
There you go. There you go.
No, it's a PB Classic.
Not a whole lot of distortion, just enough crunch there, just to get the licks out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made that sound, I think, with the PB Classic was
There you go.
the spring reverb. It gave really really unusual.
You don't hear that anymore. Spring reverb. You know,
No,
I got
you
it.
don't.
I got it on my digital audio workstation,
Yeah.
and I pick spring reverb a lot of times when I'm doing effects.
Yeah.
It's still got that pitch and reverb sound. Tell me a little bit about Dave. You were talking about The Dealer. When was that? What year was that song written in?
That would have been written in about 82,
82.
83. A couple of years before I joined April, I was with a band called Dreadnought. We never played live anywhere. Again, it was just one of those kind of. We used to meet after the pub and just go and you do cover versions. Johnny Be Good, and we used to try Stairway to Heaven, that type of thing. But that was the only original piece of music we had. Was this song called? It was about a girl I used to know, and she was a lovely girl, and she got in with the wrong crowd and ended up losing her life.
Oh.
And I kind of, now we talk about mental health a lot, and if you're in a position to help somebody, back in those days, you kind of just let people get on with it. There was never anybody there to go and seek any kind of assistance from. You couldn't counsel anybody, So, but when I heard she passed away, I was absolutely, and she was in a terrible mess the last time I saw her. And I kind of felt sometimes that I maybe have had the chance, maybe I could have talked her around, but maybe I couldn't. You just don't know these things, and they kind of stick in your mind about the what ifs and the what have yous type of thing. So,
when you talk about mental illness, that's what they called addicts back in the day.
Yeah.
That was before they found out how to, help, not cure, but how to help with addiction and like alcoholism. And they thought people were just mentally ill.
Yeah.
And they didn't understand the disease. They didn't understand it. And I went through that process myself. I quit drinking for 13 years. I quit drinking.
Yeah.
And now I drink again, but not the same.
Yeah,
it took a while. It took a while for them to understand addiction. Going back to the 60s, 70s.
There was a nice video to go with that song, Dean. I sent you the links, I think, at one point.
I have Sleepwalking.
The video.
I have the videos queued up. Let me take a peek at them real quick. Oh, I found it. I just typed in lyric video. So for those of you out there that want to watch this video, just type in The Dealer by April 16th lyric video. There it is. I found it. Let's play it.
1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't care how you feel. You just want some money, and all that you want is a thrill. The dealer sees you wasting away. Come on, take a pick, it's your life that you're losing today. No money, yeah, there'll be no compromise.
the real hangover fears. But you need to forget all your problems that don't exist. Can you look into my eyes and tell me what you're gonna do when he's gone? Yeah, but it's all so easy for me. Yeah, I see so clearly what's going on. Yeah. Please don't close your eyes. Don't walk away from me now, yeah. Remember all the tears I've cried. Look to your heart, let me show you how. Oh, don't walk away. Don't walk away. Don't walk away, yeah. Don't walk away from me now. The dealer doesn't care how you feel. He just wants your money and all that you want is a thrill. The dealer sees you wasting away. Come on, take complete control, act like you're losing today. The money, yeah, there'll be no compromise. He'll show you the mercy and build up your hopes against lies. We'll take you the real hangover fears. But you need to forget all the problems that don't exist. They don't exist.
Yeah, that was. I don't know when you was in your bands, Dean, but you know, playing live, there was always 2 or 3, sometimes 4 or 5 songs that you see on your set list, which is on a piece of paper on the floor in front of the monitor in front of you.
Gotcha.
And there were a handful of songs, not all of the songs really, but some more than others, where you think, "Oh, great, that one's next."
Exactly.
The Dealer.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Dealer real quick. That song. We just watched the video. Who wants to talk about that song? And I love it. I love the Dealer, man. He doesn't care how you feel, or he doesn't. You know, he just wants your money. I love it.
This is a song from Dave's heart, really. So it's all Dave's song. His history with particular nasty event. So, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah. She was just, like I said, it was just she wasn't quite a girlfriend, but she was part of my social circle. She always was a bit different from everybody else, a bit of a loner. She was into wearing black, which
a little bit gothic, a little bit dark.
Yeah, and I think she got singled out for a lot of stick from. She just got in with the wrong crowd. And
she was a good friend of yours, or you dated her?
Yeah, she was. We kind of dating's probably the wrong word. We were a little bit more than friends, but not quite lovers, if you know what I mean. I just put that spin on it.
Friends with benefits?
Kind of. Yeah, it depends what you mean by benefits. In the religious term of it, maybe not. But yeah, yeah. I mean, that's where it came from. So it's like a true story, if you like. I mean, it actually means a lot to me. And, Chris did such a good job with the video, and like I said, if everything would have worked out all right, the song maybe not might not have appeared, but because I was so dramatically impacted by what happened to this friend of mine, and I saw what became of her, and I saw what drugs did firsthand.
Right.
I hadn't seen her for a number of months. She was fine. She was great the last time I saw her. Then the next time I saw her, I couldn't believe it was the same person. She was an absolute mess. She'd got some, the self-made tattoos that you get, not proper tattoos you get, but they were done with, like a sharp object and a knife or whatever.
Ink and a needle, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, she was just, and I thought, my goodness. But I was too young and too naive to deal with it, to address it, to offer any kind of assistance. It was just.
I think we've all had that experience, like with a good friend, especially in the music business, where it all comes forward, right? Backstage.
Yeah.
After the parties are over. I mean, we're out there playing gigs live, so we're seeing more than the average person as a songwriter, musician performing out live. So you're going to see a whole lot more than the average person does, unless they're in that scene. But I've had a few friends die.
In Dave's book, he mentions all sorts of things going on that you see when you're playing live. Yeah.
No, I'm going to read this book. I'm going to get through it. And I started reading it. Everyone go out there. Dave Russel, The Ghost of April. And a lot of his stories are in this book. And I highly recommend you go out and get it. Download it. Dave will mail it out to you. You just got to buy it, and then he'll mail it right out to you. And I really appreciate you sending me that out, Dave. Really appreciate that.
That's Chris, yeah.
And I can't wait to get through it. Me and my wife like to read, but we just crash read, man. We read like when we watch seasons and episodes. We just binge watch.
Yeah,
and it's kind of how we read books.
Yeah.
And speaking of the book, what made you create a book? Tell me a little story behind that.
Well, I think it was. I might have come from John initially. We were all still in contact with each other for one thing or another, and we found out that Eric had passed away, and. John was very close with Eric, a rhythm section, or bass and drums usually are. And John and Eric still kept in contact with each other even after April split. And when we found out that Eric sadly passed away, I can't remember what exactly happened, but John said, you like writing words, why don't you just put something on a Facebook thing, just, about Eric. And I kind of didn't really have much of an idea. So I started writing some stuff down. And the thing with the memory of the brain is a strange thing, because as soon as you stumble across one thing, you think to yourself, oh, didn't that happen? And I started contacting Chris and John via Messenger and saying, guys, what do you remember about this? And John would say, well, this happened and that happened. And I thought, oh, Jesus Christ, so it did. And then Chris would say, well, what about the time we did this? And anyway, so cut the story short again, I'll be all bloody night. So I started writing these things. And before I knew it, Dean, I had like 2,000 words. And my missus said to me, write a book. I can't write a book. No, she goes, you can. Just put these ideas down. So, but then when I looked at John had very cleverly kept a list of all the gigs we played, and he shared it on our little Facebook page. And I started picking out some of the gigs that I remembered. And then I thought, Jesus, we've been on Tommy Vance's Friday Rock Show. We played at the All England Kent show. We played at the Marquee. We made an album. We did a trip to France. We went to Cardiff, where we went down like a storm in this. It was a hair metal venue, and we turned up, and they absolutely loved us. I don't know, maybe they were on drugs. I don't know, but not that I'm condoning the use of drugs, kids. Okay, but and so I managed to flower up a lot of it. And of course, there's some funny stuff in there as well about the guy that Chris alluded to earlier. We were playing a gig one rainy night in London, and one guy turned up with a dog. And so when we say the story about one man and his dog, it's true. It happened, you know. And there's some other very eventful things that happened that will hopefully make people laugh. And there's some sad stuff in there too. So
yeah.
But it really is. I mean, I'm just a guy who wrote it. You know, the people in the book are for real, like John and Chris and Lawrence and Eric. So
well, you can already tell you have a way with words. You speak very eloquently, and I can see you being an author. Yeah, I see you being an author. You're very intelligent, and it takes a little bit of you've got to talk from the heart. You know, you've got to feel your story and put it. And I'm glad you put it in a book. Not everybody does that. In fact, nobody does that I know of, really. And I think it's pretty incredible that, you know, you almost have like a little diary of the history of your growing up and your career in music.
Yeah, well, luckily I had these two guys you see on the screen to back me up. I couldn't have done it without their help. I mean, the support they gave me in the writing process about stuff that they remembered, stuff where I'd gone wrong, and I thought, no, they said, no, this didn't happen, but this happened, and you think, of course, you're right. So, so the way I always put it is, our book. I'm just a bloke who wrote it. You know?
Well, speaking of our book, Chris, can you give me a little input on your input on the book? What did you contribute to the book? Can you give me a little synopsis? Just a little.
No, I kept getting messages from Dave asking about this and that, so I was filled him in as best I could. I think I've got a bit of a photographic memory, really, for all events during that period. It's all very intense. Yeah. And even though I was drinking heavily during the whole show.
Oh yeah.
The whole 5 or 6 years, you know, it's you're so pumped up. I've got every image in my mind. You know, nothing's gone at all. It's clear as day, every moment. So I was able to furnish Dave with some details that he used, and the book itself is wonderful. Of course it is. It's just like being there again. It's a lovely read.
You know, I was listening to you talk right now. I was just thinking, have you ever thought about doing a documentary? A video documentary?
On the band?
Yeah.
It would be nice.
Growing up together, you guys.
Yeah. Certainly would
That's
be
an idea. I hadn't thought of that, to be fair. That's a good idea. I think Dave would probably be the person to organise that one, yeah.
Well, visually, you guys, I like to hear and watch you guys talk. It's just amusing for me, maybe because I'm American. I don't know. I love accents. I love the accents. I love the stories. I love stories, you know, and especially.
Fascination goes two ways, really. I was speaking to a Yank, as it were.
Yeah.
Was a Yank a condescending word?
So, give me a highlight. And I always ask bands or artists this, and any one of you can chime in. The biggest time in your music career, and it would be with April 16th, or it could be with someone else. And give me a highlight, the most spectacular time you had on stage, or meeting someone, or hanging out. Do you have a story that people might want to hear?
From my point of view, I think when we did the show that's behind you now, funnily enough, is one of the bigger venues that we played, outdoor festival. And I remember the man saying, right, next on stage is April 16th, because I'd set up all my gear behind the stage. Obviously, the roadies put this gear on stage. And so we walked on the stage, and I picked up my sticks, and I was sort of going boom, boom on the snare, and the power coming out the speakers either side blew me away. I just couldn't believe the power that we were going to be producing now at this show.
What was that concert? Where was that?
Powerful.
Where was that concert at?
That was the Kent Custom Bike Show. So
was that the Hells Angels you were talking about?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was on the south coast of England, near a small town called Lydd.
Oh,
Just on the Channel coast.
I can see the background. The green.
Rory Gallagher was headlining.
No, that wasn't. That was in Mildenhall.
Right. Another big festival we played at. Yeah.
That was just reminded me, John, when we played Mildenhall. It's a massive US Air Force base, Dean, and
nice.
We ambled on stage, you know, a few thousand people there, and in mid-afternoon, lovely sunny day, and we were just playing a song, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this American Hercules air transporter was coming into land at the US Air Force
Oh,
base.
man.
It had its landing gear down, by the way, and it kind of. I looked across at Chris and thought, he's had something to do with this. I bet Chris has organised this. Because he was a wizard at doing stuff like that. But
he made a phone call to the Air Force.
Yeah. Well, if you're not doing anything about 4:30, can you just fly one of your planes over the top of our stage for us, mate? Okay, mate. Consider it done.
And another little things like when you look around at the people in the audience, and you will spot somebody like Lemmy at the back watching. And also somebody out of White Snake was in the audience watching. Neil Murray, the bass player, he was watching.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, wow, these are famous people watching us. How excellent is that?
Yeah, super.
Yeah.
That's
speaking of Lenny, when was this picture taken, and how did you get in the same room with Lenny right here,
Chris?
Yeah, we I was always looking for opportunities to get mass exposure. And I was speaking to BBC in both Radio 1, etc. And I just happened to send some details to a popular show of those days on London weekend television. It was the Michael Aspel Friday night show. It's just a current affairs program.
And turn your background music down just a little bit. Your background music's coming through.
Background music?
The background of the sound of it's echoing. It's coming back through the.
Right.
Whoever's playing it live, just turn it down a little bit.
That's
why I wear headphones or earpieces during the show. But if you can keep the sound down just a little bit, because I got to edit that out later.
Yeah. Who's got the music on?
Somebody's playing. Hold on. Let me mute. Let me start muting. Hold on. Okay. Keep talking.
Hello. Testing.
Okay, it's gone. It was one of you guys, John or Dave. So go ahead. Tell me the story. Go ahead.
Yeah, this was just a London-based, quite popular current affairs program. I'd send music everywhere to radio stations, TV programs, everything. And I suppose saturation bombing. Eventually, you hit something, and they came back to me and said, "We're doing a feature on rock bands in London. Would you like to do it?" And so, of course, I said yes. We had no idea at that moment that Lemmy would be there, but we had to join the Musicians Union very pronto, didn't we, for that one? None of us were in the music union, but of course, to be aired on TV, you have to be a part of that. So we had one day to do it. So we rushed about all over Surrey, trying to get the necessary documents, and they managed to get on the show. So the show was recorded over about 4 or 5 hours. Some of the footage was in my house, and others was in the rest of it was in a local venue, which you see behind you. It was a rock pub in London.
What was the venue called?
It's called The Star. It's a famous old rock pub. It doesn't look much at all, but people like Hendrix have played there in the late 60s and so on.
Clapton.
And there it was in quite a modest-sized back room. We set up, and the TV crew come along. We done some playing, and they had Lemmy there for a reference point. And Dave got to play Paul with Lemmy and beat him, didn't you, Dave?
Yeah, beat Lemmy at Paul.
Yeah.
To jam a little bit.
They didn't jam.
Is he a nice guy? Is Lenny a pretty nice guy to me?
Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic.
Really, yeah.
He seems kind of rough. I've never met Lenny.
No, he's a dead, down to earth. Was he Yorkshire? Northern England fella. Very straightforward fella.
Yeah.
So
what about you, John? John, did you meet him as well? John Fisher? And Dave, did you met Lenny as well?
John's on mute, I think.
Yeah, I just asked him to unmute. Here you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the second time I met Lemmy, because I was at a venue called the Marquee, and again after the show I like to go and have a pint. I went to a pub called the Ship next door, and he's on the fruit machine playing.
There you go.
Like his fruit machines, did Lemmy?
He did, definitely. All the time.
Yeah. So he was a lovely fella. Really
back in the days of New Wave of British heavy metal, when all these bands like Tigers of Pantang, Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, Saxon, too many to name, the music scene in London in the late 70s was thriving. You know, it really was a honeypot of just bands. Every night of the week you can go see one of these bands. And John's just reminded that invariably you'd find Lemmy, if there was a one-arm bandit or a fruit machine, as they're called, Lemmy was always be on the fruit machine. That would
be the jukebox. Is that like the jukebox?
Now this is where you've got the arm on the side. You pull the arm down, and the things spin round. I'm not quite sure
okay.
what you'd call it in the
Money
States.
maker.
Bit of gambling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was always,
slot machine. Slot machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
The one-arm bandit. The one-arm bandit.
One-arm bandit.
Takes your money.
Yeah.
I'm in Las Vegas, so you're I'm in Las Vegas, and boy, have the machines changed out here. I was at the Wynn Casino the other night, and we did a commercial shoot. I do a lot of commercials outside of the podcast show. That's why I make my living. And we do a lot of UGC, they call it. That's when they do commercials, and it looks like somebody's at their home. UGC. Forgot what that's. Any graphic content, but anyway, they pay us pretty well. So I did a commercial at the Wynn Casino, and the machines. Oh my God, I don't go to Las Vegas downtown a whole lot, and boy, have they changed. They're no more pulling the handle, one-arm bandit. Now you just put your money in, hit a button, and it spins for you. It just keeps spinning.
Really?
Yeah, I bet the payouts are huge, aren't they? Some big payouts.
Oh, they are. They can be in the tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow!
I watched a lady win $250,000, and
wow, very nice.
Oh my God, they got the progressive slots, they call them, where the money keeps building up until somebody wins.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of that in the bars and stuff down here. But there's slot machines in the grocery stores down here.
Oh
Really?
wow!
Come out of you can do a little gambling on your way out of the grocery store.
So I've got a question. I've got a question for you then, Dean, regarding that. So let's say you're on one of these fruit machines, one-arm bandits, for want of a better word, and you get, like you say, 20 grand. Does it spew it all out in coins, or does it just log up onto some kind of system on your bank account?
Oh, you walk over to the teller window. They give you a ticket, and you walk over, and then they make you fill out the tax information.
Yeah.
So they can tax if it's over $1,000, you get
tax on
taxed.
it. Oh,
yeah. And they give you cash, $20,000 cash.
Wow.
And then they offer to have somebody walk you out to your car, whether it be a security guard, or you can walk around the casino with $20,000 cash.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
But Vegas is pretty amazing, and I don't go, like I said, I don't go downtown a whole lot, but Las Vegas, they're building a whole new Hard Rock casino. I don't know if you've have noticed, but they're putting the big guitars, the tallest casino, almost I think as tall as the Stratosphere. It's going to be a guitar.
Wow.
And it's a guitar with like a television screen, so it has all kinds of colors on it.
Wow.
And it's going to be the new Hard Rock casino. And it's so tall, it's going to cover the Trump Towers in the back.
Oh no!
Ooh,
you're not going to see the Trump Towers.
Don't upset him. You know what will happen?
Right there. And then they're doing a baseball. We have a baseball stadium going in right now.
Wow!
And we have a minor league, but I heard they're going to be bringing the Oakland A's out to Las Vegas.
Oh dear!
Be the Las Vegas A's or whatever they want to call them. And then they brought the Raiders out here, the Oakland Raiders. So Las Vegas has the Raiders. They got a hockey team. They got a women's basketball team, and then they have a minor league baseball team. They're bringing the majors out. But yeah, Vegas is evolving. They're bringing the sports out. Of course, they need more money. During COVID, if you remember, they shut down Las Vegas. They shut down all of the casinos. It was a ghost town, and they lost billions. And they're still losing millions today because the people, they're trying to get back the money, and they started gouging the tourists. And people I'm not going to Las Vegas because they charge $500 for a dinner, and $200 for a room, and people just don't want to come out here and spend all that money.
Yeah, it's understandable, isn't it? Yeah.
It's kind of a shame.
I went off sport last night because my team lost 5-1 in the London Cup.
The London Cup.
Was that Dulwich,
the London Senior Cup. We lost to Dulwich Hamlet, lost to Queen's Park Rangers.
Oh, the Rangers.
So,
Okay.
Are you a hockey fan? Are you a hockey fan at all?
Not hockey, no. It's really soccer. Is my
Soccer. Okay, gotcha.
Well, it wasn't until last night.
Now he doesn't like it.
All right, let's move on to what you guys are doing now. I'm not going to say you're in retirement. You guys are still musicians. You're still writing music, I'm sure. Yeah. Do you have any plans of getting together and doing any live performances?
Well, in my garden at the back, I've got my studio, and I'm laying down some drum tracks, which I'm sending on to Chris and to Dave, and they're going to add their bits to it. But also, Chris has some plans.
Don't you, Chris?
But
not on the live scene, more of the recording scene. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, on the recording scene. The live scene is even when we were live, we had to pack it up because it's very expensive. It's okay if you treat it lightly, but and maybe I'm a bit OTT, but I really did want to make it. I didn't want to go and just play to a handful of people. I wanted to play to stadiums. I wanted a villa in Spain, and I wanted to spend my life writing nice songs. And really,
if you got a phone call right now saying you guys need to come open up for one of the biggest bands in the UK, would you do it?
Well, rehearse to get back up. We're very, very slow moving bands to get us back up to rehearsal.
That's just a question.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I reckon it'd take us 2 years to get back up to gig readiness. We have 10 pints and then rehearse a song. Another 10 pints and think about rehearsing another song. We're very slow. So
I always think about if somebody called me, would I be able to do it? I'd love to go out live again. Yeah. Even 10 years from now, if somebody called me, if I'm still able anyway, if I'm still able to walk.
It's lovely playing live, but you got to make playing live to an empty room is no good. You got to play live with big PAs and big
I agree.
You got to notify all the fans that you do know and try and stimulate all the ones that you don't know. It takes a long time, so there's a rehearsal time to get back up to speed and all the hassle of trying to.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work being in a band or just working together. Rehearsals. I mean, how often did you guys rehearse when you were active on stage? How many days a week did you guys rehearse?
Once a fortnight, really, which is not enough because I've got a short memory. Really. Even between rehearsals, I'd have to practice a set at home. I really would. I always used to dread being on stage and cocking it up. Forgetting something and having to stop the song. We only done that once, I think, in all of our 5 years.
I used to forget lyrics. Dave, have you ever forgot the lyrics on stage?
No, I didn't. But I had one extraordinary moment, which is again documented in the book. Spoiler alert! I'll have to look it up.
where something rather unfortunate happened to me that nobody else on the planet was responsible for apart from myself. And it resulted in some catastrophic consequences, which were later resolved, I have to say, thankfully,
Good.
with the help and understanding of my fellow bandmates who had a bit of a laugh at the time, but it turned out to be something that was difficult for me to deal with. But of course, if you buy a copy of the book, as Dean says, you can read about all this in its gory detail, and I guarantee it will make you cringe because it was such an embarrassing situation for me. And even now, 40 years later, I can feel my toes curling up just thinking about it.
Now I'm encouraged to read the rest of this book. I got to get to the hot spots.
Yeah, there's quite a few bits like that in there, Dean. And like we said, as part of being in a band, you know, there are the public. Yeah, as you alluded to earlier, the public don't see a lot.
You know, I used to forget the lyrics. You know, and songs I wrote, and I don't know if it's because I got some brain damage or drain damage, whatever they call it. And, like I think David Lee Roth of Van Halen, he had the same disease. I think he forget the words. You know, he'd go out there, the US Festival. You know, I was talking with Carlos Cavazo, remember Quiet Riot?
Oh, yeah.
And Carlos, I said, what's the biggest gig you ever did? He goes, well, it was the US Festival. And I go, how many people were there? He goes, 500,000.
Wow.
500,000 screaming kids. Do you remember the US Festival out here in the US? It was a big concert.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Ozzy, I think, Black Sabbath. I mean, they had just every Van Halen, Motley Crue. I don't know who was out there. But anyway, that brings me to asking you guys, what, if you could be on stage with any band or artist, and I'll start with Chris. You all get one crack at this question. Chris, if you could be on stage with anyone, playing on stage, and it could be these bandmates here with you or some famous artist, who would it be?
I think I'd like to be with the rest of the guys in this band as some role rather than being a guest of another band. Good God, I admire so many people that whether it would suit him with what we're playing, I don't know. Oh dear, oh dear.
Maybe one of your biggest influences in music, if you have one. I don't need myself. I don't even have one.
Yeah,
just a quick.
I suppose Sabbath would be it. I'd love to be playing with Tony Iommi and the gang.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. What about you, John? John, if you had to jump on stage with a famous artist from maybe back in your era, who would it be?
Yeah, so this band was from 1969 to 1975, and they were called, well, they had two names. The first name was Faces, or you could say Rod Stewart and the Faces, which is unfair. And the funny thing about the Faces is I've met the drummer Kenny Jones, who also played for the Who, and we've become very good friends.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Was Jeff Beck out there playing at the time? Jeff Beck.
But actually, at Kenny's Polo Club, yes, Jeff Beck has turned up and done a show there.
Okay.
I went to the
he's passed away now, but yeah, he has turned up at. Kenny did a show called Rock and Horsepower.
Oh, okay.
He's done a few shows.
Can I make a name drop here? I went to the same school as Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck, there you go. What a
you
great
kept that
artist.
quiet, Chris. You kept that quiet. I wish you'd have let me know that when I was writing. I wish you'd let me know that when I was writing the book.
Sorry.
Is it in the book?
No, it's not. No.
But then, Jeff Beck might have sued us for royalties, mightn't he? So,
yeah, right. What about you, Dave?
Oh, blimey.
If you had to be on stage with anybody, I know you'd rather be with these guys we're looking at tonight.
Oh, I love John and Chris dearly, but I'd have to say I've got to go with a band that had the biggest influence on me growing up, and that's got to be Led Zeppelin.
Robert Plant.
Robert Plant had such a massive effect on me as a teenage boy, watching this. All my girlfriend, including the lady I wrote about in The Dealer, they all had the hots. They all had the hots for Percy Plant, and I was lucky enough to see Zeppelin a handful of times, and they were just something else. They were extraordinary. And I know they get a lot of stick saying they plagiarised.
I heard he's a very personable guy.
I've read a couple of his books, and Hammer of the Gods, of course, and a few other bits and pieces by Plant, and I just find him compelling and articulate and intelligent, such a lovely guy. But is the raw electricity of Led Zeppelin on stage, when you've got someone like John Bonham on drums, and you've got John Paul Jones Page, and just for a four-piece band, I mean, there was just such a sex machine of rock and roll. They really were.
Just his presence on stage.
I'm being too graphic, aren't I? Really? So I better stop.
No, not at all. And you just look at Led Zeppelin on stage. They are sexy.
Yeah.
My father. And you guys bring some of that. You guys bring some of that back. I call it sexy rock and roll. Just that native or natural or authentic, whatever you want to call it. That gritty that it says in your bio that it's gritty, original rock and roll. And you guys never were swayed to change your clothes and puff up your hair and put in keyboards and all that stuff. Did you ever have a keyboard player? It says you didn't, but I'm just curious.
No, we detested. I personally detested keyboard players. I never really. I always thought it was a synthetic sound for me. So, what do you think, guys?
Yeah.
Were we right not to have a keyboard player? Dave,
did it ever cross your mind? Maybe like a Rhodes piano? Or some kind of a Hammond B3 organ in the background.
I do love the Hammond organ, John Lord.
The old Hammond in the back, like the old blues. Did you guys?
No, we
I
never
can't.
really wanted one, did we? We never thought about it.
No, I agree, John. Yeah, we never. The thing is, we never even really contemplated. Do you think we need a keyboard player, guys? What do you think? It was never even suggested. We didn't. We were
Okay.
too involved in. Now, of course, as you mentioned earlier, we are trying to put something together, all done remotely on the internet, connecting up. And my musical tastes have changed somewhat. I've got more appreciation and understanding of the impact a subtle keyboard sound in the background can do.
Maybe more reminiscent of Billy Preston or some of the John Lord, some of the old keyboard players.
You mentioned Journey earlier.
Journey,
the couple of albums they made, Edge of the Blade, the song Edge of the Blade on the Frontiers album. They got a lovely, it's just a sympathetic keyboard sound. It just gives another layer without being all diddly 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 piano type thing. It just gives a nice stream of just to fill it out a little bit, but
without changing the sound, without changing your sound.
Exactly.
Keeping that grit, but with a little back. That's what I loved about the B3, the Hammond organ, when Deep Purple, and he came out with that, or what was the song? It's got that rough, distorted keyboard sound. I just love that.
I do.
Deep
I
Purple.
do like that. Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a Highway Star. It was Highway Star, I think it was.
Yeah. And the sound that John Lord got out of his keyboard on In Rock. You listen to In Rock. I mean, Speed King and Flight of the Rat. I mean, it's incredible keyboard. But the thing was, the musicians back in those days. You look at the keyboard players that were around in those days: Keith Emerson, Rick Wakeman.
There you go.
To name but a few. There were several around who were really at the top of their game during that time. So, whether
Tell you a keyboard player I absolutely adore, Doug Ingle. Iron Butterfly.
Okay. There you go.
Great band.
Yeah.
Some great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, by the same token, you mentioned Rush as well. I'm a huge Rush fan. I just finished reading Geddy Lee's book. Absolutely one of the best books I've ever read. And I went off Rush when they started bringing in more keyboards. They got to Moving Pictures and Permanent Waves, and I started experimenting.
Was that off Tom Sawyer? I think Tom Sawyer album came out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Spirit of Radio, that type of thing. And then they started experimenting with keyboards, and I just couldn't get on with them anymore. That's the last. I didn't buy another record by Rush, not because I hated them, but I just didn't like the sound they were making with the added influence of a keyboard. So,
that's not the first time I heard that. Before Rush was even recognized by the general public, when they went commercial with, I believe it was Tom Sawyer, they had 10 albums out prior to that.
Oh, brilliant.
And I guess you're referring back to the early Rush days, early albums.
Yeah, Caress of Steel and A Farewell to Kings, all that type of stuff.
Gotcha.
Hemispheres, big Rush fan.
It's funny, I've been in the music business 45 years, and people think I know all these bands and all these albums and everything, and I'm not quite the history buff I probably should be, because I was so involved with writing music, and I think part of me didn't want to become a big fan of any one genre or a band, because I didn't want to sound like them. I didn't want to accidentally write music like them, because it gets stuck in your brain, and next thing you know, you're writing music like, I really wanted to be as original as possible as a songwriter. And I think part of me said, no, I'm just going to write, get into my own zone. I read a little bit Edgar Allan Poe to try to get a little bit of lyrical background knowledge. In fact, I wrote a song, some of the lines in his book. It was called Lightning, but I wrote so many songs. But a lot of my songs, now I'm going to ask you the question too, where do most of your songs come from lyrically? From experiences, your readings? I know you read a lot, Dave, as well. What inspires you to write a song right off the bat?
Well, it's personal experience largely, or it was. Okay. But the lyrics that I'm working, Chris and I have started working on some new lyrics individually, not as a collaboration, but we've both got some ideas for lyrics, and I do jot stuff down, and the stuff I'm writing now is much darker. It's more introspective. And I think it comes from when you're younger, you don't give a shit about things that can hurt you or harm you. You're too busy having fun,
Right.
But now I'm writing about stuff that's more to do with the psychosis and psychology and the understanding our fears. I don't mean fears as in nuclear war. I mean fears stuff that we got no control over emotionally.
Gotcha.
That type of thing. I really like a lot of these kind of death metal bands. There's a band called Meshuggah, and some of the words that they write are just, and you think, God, where do they get these lyrics from? Because they are, like you said, they're so unique. And I know Chris used to make a point of saying that he didn't listen to a great deal of music for fear of that influence occurring, because if you really like something, you're in danger of thinking, well, I wouldn't mind, I think that's really nice, I think maybe we should put a bit of what they do into our music. And then straight away you're on a rocky road, aren't you?
Right.
But I always found Chris's lyrics very interesting. I mean, the song "Midday Man," I'm sure was Chris's personal experience of where he worked at the time that the band was rocking around. And
that was Midday Man. You said
"Midday Man," yeah.
Another
Chris,
great song.
Was
there a video done on this one as well?
No.
Was there a video?
No, I didn't. I always regard it as one of our older songs, and I probably wouldn't get round to doing a video on that one, even though I was listening to it yesterday. I really quite like it. It's really a hate song, me hating the modern business world. Full of,
we got to have a hate song in there.
It's all about.
None of us like going to work, so yeah.
I love that. Yeah. You don't hear the long intros anymore. All your songs have a nice intro.
Mm.
This one's just kind of cruising. Yeah, let's listen to that.
Yeah, that was one of the first songs, wasn't it?
And it's excellent because nobody likes going to work. Exactly that.
What's that, John?
I was going to say, we all like that one because none of us like going to work.
I don't think anybody likes to go to work.
Yeah.
These days it's becoming it's striking. These days when we were 18, we would on a Monday morning we'd talk about what club we went to or where we're going on holiday, that sort of thing. But in the last few years I've noticed people 22-year-olds standing around the bloody cooler talking about work problems and stuff. The boss is nowhere in sight. They haven't got to pretend to anybody. There's two young blokes here with the rest of their life in front of them talking about bloody spreadsheets and shit.
Spreadsheet.
And their company sells toilet rolls, for God's sake. It's not just their spreadsheets to create a new spaceship.
That brings me back to another question. A lot of bands work while they're playing on the road or on tour or recording songs. Did you guys all have full-time jobs?
Oh yeah,
during your prime?
Yeah, we never.
So you guys were busy. Yeah,
we never really made a bean out of our all the money we made was ploughed back into doing more shows. We were playing to 180 people, sometimes more, and we really needed to play to 250 to start making money over the cost of putting the show on. So
you got the rehearsal room, the recording, the equipment, your guitars, your drums. That stuff was expensive, even more back in the day.
Yeah. The big thing for us in the UK was
very expensive.
PA hire stuff. No bands in our.
Now, did you guys have sound? Did you have a sound man? Did you have a fifth person or?
No.
You guys did it all yourself.
No. The trick in the UK in the 80s, 90s, and even probably on tours today was to the band doesn't have their own PA unless they're a big pro band with a record company backing. They would hire a PA for each gig. So we had our favourite PA companies that we used.
Oh,
but they would go away with 100 quid, and we go away owing 50 quid. And then you bring in the light company. The light company goes away with 50 quid. The
venue,
the venue would get all the beer money, of course. And if you put any big ads in, like we frequently did, they would the newspapers would take another big slice. So they all be caning it, and we'd
kind of sounds like the US, the pay to play. the pay to play scene out here, and everything was pay to play, and that came up because we had to do our own advertising. We had to hire our own sound guy if we didn't have one, and if it was a small club, we had to bring our own sound system.
Yeah,
a lot of them didn't have a PA system.
That's right.
So it was very expensive. I can recall many gigs where we were out of pocket, up to $500,000.
We would even play. There's this place we used to play in Wales, Cardiff, and we'd have people queuing right at the door. And on a couple of occasions, it was full up. It's maximum capacity. That's about 350, and we'd still lose 80 quid.
Yeah,
that is so funny. It's reminiscent around the world, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
Being a musician and a songwriter is not easy. It never has been.
No.
And I was watching that movie. Have you guys ever seen Cadillac Records?
No.
It was B.B. King back in the day. It was who was the actor? And it was basically they give him a Cadillac. It was called Cadillac Records. And who was it? B.B. King, Ray Charles. I can't remember the bands that were in it, but they would give him a Cadillac. That's how they paid him. Here's a Cadillac. And
wow. Okay. Yeah.
The record company was taking a lot of their money. And it basically the story was they were broke. Unless they were trying to remember the blues artist. Anyway, Cadillac Records is probably a movie made out here in the U.S. But record companies have always taken. My friend Tommy Lee. We went to school together. He's the drummer for Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And me and Tom went to Royal Oak High School and both got kicked out on the same day. Me and Tom were called in. We were called into the principal's office. You guys aren't going to make enough credits. I need you to go to continuation school for the summertime. It's like summer school. And me and Tom got kicked out on the same day. And we were like 11th grade. And he was in US 101 before Motley Crue. He was playing with about 5 different bands. And I always used to go and sit in his garage and watch him play drums. And he was such a great drummer, but he was very fickle and he knew what he wanted. And he got thrown out of every band he was in until Nikki Sixx found him from Motley Crue, the bass player.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Me and Tom, we're both the same age. We both ran the same chorus back in the day. And I was playing Hollywood before he was. And he was playing a lot of high school graduation concerts. He was in a band called Dealer, US 101, Sweet 19, and some other band. And then Nikki found him and they went to Hollywood and I saw him at the Starwood down there. And anyway, that's when they made it. And I remember listening to the radio, KLOS radio, or KNEC, whatever it was. And my song was being played. It was Nevermind at the time. And then all of a sudden I'm hearing Motley Crue on the radio, like all day, all night. And I'm like, what the hell happened here? How did that happen?
Yeah.
And I got a little insight. There was a little bit of a payoff, and it was along the cocaine scene. And the DJs had what they call a program director. And the program director, you could sit with him and do a few lines. Man, he would play your songs all night long.
Yeah.
A lot of that goes on.
Yeah,
out here, but that's my story, and I've had a lot of great memories. Yeah, a lot of great memories. But you guys want to say anything before we depart? Maybe for your audience, and I'm going to put some links at the bottom of the show so people can find the book, they can find the album, they can go to your website, and also if you get a chance, Chris, send me some more links of where you want people to go. And then I'll put them in the podcast show.
Lovely.
Is there anything you guys want to say to your audience before we depart?
Please give our disc a spin. Please give it a go.
Give it a go.
Yeah. I mean, it's of a time, but it's nice to listen back to it. I think it's difficult not to be stereotyped, but we've suffered with that quite a lot because we were doing battle with the hair bands at the time, the mid 80s. I mean, we even in the UK, we were doing battle with a lot of hair bands, and we were kind of seen as out of date then. So, but our live shows were the thing I think that sustained us. But having said that, I would also say, like John says, give the CD a whirl. We appreciate times and music have changed, but sometimes it's nice to hark back to the days of the mid 80s, when music was still, well, it's always growing, but and if you like a good rip roaring tale, buy the book.
I'm definitely I can't wait to read the rest of the book. Also, do you have any new music recordings coming out that people can look forward to in the next, let's say, 6 months to a year or so?
We're very, very slow. We've got about 3 tracks on the go. One of them is called The Maze. I sent you a work in progress video.
So I got that. Okay.
Yeah, and it's quite different. We've tuned down to drop B, for instance, or a slight variation on drop B, so it's low and aggressive.
And that'll be available to the public, Chris. Some of the new music.
Well, it's really a very slow process, so I wouldn't like to make any promises. All
right, but people can at least be on the lookout in the future.
They can be on the lookout for the thing's going to be called The Maze. I think that's the working title of the new album.
Okay.
Although,
so April 16th is not done. You guys aren't.
We hope not. No, we hope not. No.
Okay, just keep writing. I always tell people I'm going to be writing till the day I die.
Well,
got to. Yeah. That's the way. That's the spirit. Yeah.
I'll be on my deathbed and I'll have a song in my head. I got
what
one
about this
more.
one, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I'm not done until I'm done in music. You guys are true grit, true songwriters, true artists, and you stay true to your feelings and your emotions and your writing. You stay true to who you are, and I have to compliment you for that.
I want to thank you, sir, for having us on your show. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you very much. And I'm going to be posting this out. This will be going out tomorrow, and I can't wait to put it out and put in all my goodies and make it look amazing, even more amazing than it is. So you guys have been great guests. I appreciate it.
Dean. Very kind.
Cheers, Dean.
All the best.
And thank you, everyone, for watching the show, and thank you and good night.